Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into something pretty wild, a connection between quantum physics and, believe it or not, psychology. We're going to see how this link can actually help us unlock our own potential and the potential of those around us. So let's just jump right in with a really big question. Think about this. What if the words you use every day are actually erasing someone's potential? I'm talking about your colleagues, your friends, even your family. So here's how we're going to break it down. We'll start with how labels shape our future. Then we'll get into this wild idea of people being in superposition. After that, we'll look at how our labels act like a quantum observation. We'll touch on something called quantum entanglement in our expectations. And finally, we'll wrap up with some really practical ways you can use your words to keep potential alive. All right, first step, labels decide the future. And yeah, we're talking about the everyday power of a simple tag. Let's start with something we all do, probably without even thinking about it, how we label people. You know how it is, right? We're constantly sizing people up. She's a fast worker. Oh, he's a bit shy. We do this all the time, just to make sense of everything. But here's the thing. Those little mental shortcuts, those labels, they have a much bigger, kind of hidden effect than we realize. Yeah, there's actually a name for this in behavioral economics. It's called the labeling effect. And it's exactly what it sounds like. The moment you give someone a label, like say you call a student gifted or a new hire a real fast learner, something amazing happens. They subconsciously start to become that label. They start acting in ways that prove you right. It's kind of crazy, but they literally live up to the tag you've given them. Okay, so that's the psychology part, but now this is where things get really, really interesting because this whole labeling effect has a mind-blowing parallel in, of all places, quantum mechanics. So let's imagine a new person starts at your job. Before you formed any opinion, what are they? Well, they're everything. They hold infinite possibilities, right? They could be a future leader, a super creative innovator, a great teammate. They're not just one thing. It's like they exist as this wave of potential. Well, in the quantum world, this is called superposition. It's this bizarre but true idea that a tiny particle can be in all of its possible states at the very same time. That is, until you observe it. The moment you look, it picks one state. And this is just a perfect analogy for a person before you label them. They're in their own state of superposition, full of pure, undefined potential. Okay, so if people are in this quantum-like state of infinite possibilities, what happens when we slap a label on them? This is where our words become the observation. And trust me, the consequences are huge. The second you say something like, wow, he has great leadership skills, your words become that quantum observation. It's just like when a scientist looks at a particle. That big, wavy cloud of possibilities, it just collapses. It snaps into a single state. And you've just nudged that person's reality toward that one specific outcome. And the impact here is just, wow, it's black and white. Look at the difference. A positive label, like, you're so creative, does something incredible. It helps them localize their mental resources. It's like it pulls all their focus and energy right onto creative tasks. But flip that coin. A negative label, like, you always make mistakes, it's like creating a negative magnetic field around them. It just traps them in this loop of failure. They start to believe it, and then they live it. And believe it or not, this connection goes even deeper. You've probably heard of the Pygmalion effect, right? The idea that high expectations lead to high performance. Well, we can look at that through a quantum lens too. This brings us to one of the weirdest ideas in all of physics, quantum entanglement. It's where two particles get linked, and I mean really linked. What happens to one instantly, and I mean instantly, affects the other, even if they're on opposite sides of the universe. It's like they're connected by an invisible thread. And in a way, your belief about a person can become entangled with them, invisibly but powerfully linked to who they are. So here's the takeaway. The moment you truly, deeply believe this person can do it, their reality actually starts to shift to match your expectation. It's as if they're entangled with your belief. Your confidence isn't just a nice thought. It becomes a real, tangible force that helps shape their world. Okay, so this is all a bit scary, right? If labeling is this powerful, how do we stop ourselves from accidentally boxing people in and limiting their potential? How can we observe them in a way that actually helps them grow instead of shrinking them down? Well, in physics, there's this thing called decoherence. It basically means the loss of that quantumness, all those different possibilities. And in our analogy, if we overlabel someone, even with good labels, we cause decoherence. By saying, you are a creative person, you risk accidentally erasing all the other amazing things they could be. You've collapsed their potential a little too permanently. So what's the solution? The key is to use what we could call a wise nudge instead of a permanent fixed label. And it's actually pretty simple. So, step 1, avoid those definitive you are labels. Instead of saying, you are a great leader, try focusing on the action. You did a great job leading that meeting. See the difference? Step 2 is just that. Observe their actions, not their whole character. Acknowledge what they do. And all of this leads to the most important part, step 3. You leave them room for superposition. You give them the freedom and space to grow, to change, to be more than just one thing. So you see, every single time you talk to someone, it's an opportunity. You can lock them into a single reality with a fixed label, or you can empower them with a nudge that keeps all their amazing possibilities open. Your words can be that sacred nudge, that gentle push that guides their infinite potential toward its absolute brightest future. So I'll leave you with this to think about. When you go into work tomorrow, or when you talk to your family tonight, how will you choose to observe them? Remember, your observation helps shape their reality. So, what future are you going to help them create?